Hey knitters, welcome back to Aro Knits and Purls. I'm your host Aro of Aro Knits and Purls. As always, you can find my Ravelry, Instagram, Ko-Fi, Patreon linked in the description below, as well as any links to designers, makers, and dyers that I talk about in today's episode. And I am glad to be back. If you guys hear something different in my voice or anything, I am sick. I spent Thanksgiving, or at least pre-Thanksgiving, with my cousin and her daughter and husband in Las Vegas. Las Vegas is equidistant from San Diego, where they live, and Salt Lake City, where I live, so we meet there for Thanksgiving. It's now the second year of doing this new tradition for us. But my niece, bless her heart, she definitely got me sick. She got me sick, and I am feeling it, which is to say I'm feeling awful, but it's okay because I had a lot to show you. I wanted to record this episode because I committed to you guys just last week that I was getting back to my normal schedule. So we are on it, okay? Yes. Okay. First, I realized back in October, I never commemorated my 15th anniversary. I've talked about this in very early episodes, but the way I learned how to knit, I was 9 years old, and my mom was always going through hobbies. She was always cycling through hobbies, and once she got really into knitting for a couple months, and so she taught me how to do it because I wanted to do what she was doing. And so when I was 9 years old, I learned to knit and purl, and not cast on and off. She did that for me, but knit and purl I did, and I was obsessed. So for 2 months straight, all I did was knit. And that's where I learned to knit without looking, because I would knit in the dark past my bedtime like a weirdo. So yeah, I learned that skill. But then I stopped knitting because, you know, you're 9 and you cycle through hobbies too. So I stopped knitting, and I didn't think about it at all until I turned 14. I was 14, and I wanted to make holiday gifts for all of my friends. So I asked my mother to reteach me. And she would make the joke later on. She was like, if I had known when you asked me to reteach you that it meant that you would never stop knitting, I wouldn't have agreed to it. But yeah, that's what happened. She taught me to knit again at 14, and from age 14 on, I was pretty much knitting all the time. And so it is now the 15-year anniversary, or at least it was in October. It's been 15 years since I've been knitting pretty much nonstop, and that's a huge milestone. I think that's a huge milestone for anybody, and I'm really proud of how far I've come, because, you know, coming from ugly scarves like really ugly garter scarves, that's all I made for a hot minute, and then finally beginning to challenge myself into doing like hats, and then I did mittens, I did mini sweaters, I did all kinds of stuff. I did all kinds of stuff before I finally made the jump into garments. And as you can tell from my everything, I have not looked back. It's been a really enjoyable 15 years of knitting, and I hope to share many more years with you guys. But yeah. And I'm always grateful for my mom for teaching me this hobby that has become a lifestyle for me. I love knitting. I love talking about knitting. Obviously, I'm doing this thing. And I've made some of my best friends through knitting. And even though my mom didn't realize it then, because she worried that it would isolate me so much, it really has brought me the best friends that I have. So I'm very grateful to her for that. And my mom is a good segue into what I'm wearing, which is how I usually start my episodes. What I'm wearing, if you guys, you know, have amnesia, or this is your first time stopping in, hi. If this is your first time stopping in, watch the older episodes for context. But anyway, this is the Dad Sweater by Emily Curtis, or MWe Kurt on Instagram. I have gushed about Emily probably the last 3 episodes in a row, so I will try to keep it to a minimum, other than to say she is an angel. She's so smart, so pretty, so cute. Everything she does is so adorable. Ugh, love that woman. Anyway, okay. This is the Dad Sweater because she has positive feelings associated with her father and wearing his woolly sweaters and growing up. I don't have such feelings. I have complicated feelings about my father. I've talked about that at length. Don't want to get into it now because I'm sick, so I'm always close to crying when I'm sick, and I'm like, anything could set me off right now. I don't want to do it. But yeah, so I decided instead to honor my mother with this sweater. So I did my version, which is the mom sweater. Essentially everything's the same, except, so this is the broad shoulder version. It hangs a little bit off. I talked about it last episode, but I've been told that I have very broad shoulders. Maybe less broad than I have always thought, but still more broad than I think the average. I did have to cinch in the sleeves because the broad shoulder version is modeled off of the male sizing. So if you are wanting to do a broad shoulder version and you are a woman with not exactly male measurements, I would say size down. I wish I had done that because when I tried to do the sleeve as written for size 3 in the men's, the broad shoulder one, it was way too big for me. So I took them out and I replaced them, and now I love it. Like, this sleeve is adorable now, like the gradual decrease and then sudden decrease so that you get this nice little cinch. It just looks cozy and cute. Like, I feel like I have to have a mug of coffee or tea right in front of me right now, but I don't, alas. And I know you guys are gonna be like, Aro, how'd you finish this so quick? Weren't you waiting on that yarn? Well, funny story. The day after I recorded this, no, it was the day this episode went up because it took 2 days for YouTube to upload it. Oh my God. Yeah. So literally the day this episode went up, I dropped something down my couch. So I had to bend down and pick it up, and I couldn't see. So I'm like reaching blind, and I touched something that's fuzzy, and I know by touch it's yarn. And I was like, oh, what yarn fell behind the couch? How did it get all the way back here? And I touch it, I pick it up. It's the yarn that I had for this. I had 5 skeins of worsted weight, and I thought I had lost it in Korea because I could not find it anywhere. Well, it turns out when I was unpacking from Korea and, like, you know, trying to organize things into piles because it was a big old trip, somehow that skein had fallen and rolled and gotten behind the couch. So while it was covered in a bit of dust, it was absolutely fine and accounted for, and I was able to finish this just a little bit after recording the last video. So the joke is on me. Luckily, the dyer of this yarn, Hawari Bazaar, Corinne of Hawari Bazaar, she was able to cancel the emergency order of yarn I put in for that one skein to finish this. So I was able to at least save that cost. But while I did order that one skein from her, I made another order, and I'll talk about that in a second. But real quick, before I get into it, the sweater, I love it. Everybody I know that has tested this loves this sweater. It is such a classic flattering fit, and it is clean. The construction is so clean. And what I mean by that is, so it looks more complicated than it is because it looks like a set-in sleeve. And just so you guys know, I don't like set-in sleeves. I can pick up sleeves, but set-in, Anyway, the way that it works is you just pick up around the edge, and then you do short row shaping along the top. So as long as you're comfortable with German short rows, and German short rows, guys, if you haven't tried them before, watch a video on YouTube, and you're gonna watch it and see it, and you're gonna be like, is that really it? Is that really it? Because that's it. It's the easiest short row method, and it's the cleanest in my opinion. I know other people may beg to differ, but German short rows are like, I am ride or die for those, okay? They're amazing. But anyway, yeah, so as long as you can do German short rows or can learn how to do German short rows, you can achieve this set and sleeve look that looks so clean. And it's so good. It's so good, you guys. I already want to do a different version. The mom sweater, the reason I called it that, I've talked about in another episode. Sorry, the little fake tooth thing is really bugging me. The colorway reminds me a lot of my mom. She, like me, she loved pastels, but she didn't wear pastels. She liked big, bold color. She was a very big, bold personality. And so whenever I knit stuff with pastels, she would always be like, "Oh my god, that's so beautiful. How do you do that? How do they make this yarn? That's so beautiful." And I was like, "Do you want to make something?" She'd be like, "No, I'll buy it." She was that type of person. And I feel like if she was around, this sweater absolutely would have been one of those where she would watch me knit something that she decided she liked, and she'd be like, "Ara, I think that's too big for you. I think that's definitely too big for you. I think it's for me. I think I need to take it. I will take it on your behalf because it's obviously too big." You know, she'd make jokes like that. Another way I chose to commemorate her in my version of the dad sweater, my mom's sweater, is I did 2x2 ribbing. Maybe this is just like an internal thing, but 2x2 ribbing always looks cozy to me. It looks just soft, and that makes me think of my mom. Like, she was the embodiment of a cozy person, and she would be mad if she heard me say it, but also 2x2 ribbing is obviously thicker than 1x1, and she was, like me, very short and stout, and it makes me think of my mom. She would be so mad if she heard me say that. But yeah, so that's another way that I chose to capture her in the sweater. I do want to make another one of the sweater one day. I think I would do a more solid moody color and do the 1x1 as written, and that way it would be that I think a classic moody sweater look rather than this pastel thing, which, you know, I love. I can already tell I'm gonna live in this. But yeah. And after I finished this, like I said, I put in that yarn order for the last skein that I thought I would need. I canceled that, but I felt bad just doing one skein of yarn, so I ordered actually another colorway from Hawari Bazaar that I've been looking at for a long time. And this colorway is called Film Out, and it is gorgeous. It's on this very soft lavender beigey base with these speckles that are interspersed, and you can see blues, browns, reds, even greens, yellows. It's very delicately done, soft. You guys know I love soft speckles, and I think that's because I love a neutral look. You guys know what I'm talking about. Like this, I think of it as a very European, very Scandinavian design aesthetic, where everything on their Instagram grid is beige, white, cream. You know what I'm talking about. It's very neutral, very flat, and it's beautiful. But for me, in my wardrobe, I take after my mom. I'm a little bit too loud for that. So while I admire that look, I just need something more. And I think this kind of neutral is how I compromise with both desires. The desire for a neutral look, but also a little bit more. So the speckles, the lavender beiginess, that's how I compromise and introduce a little bit more color in my life. So yeah, that's what I ordered. Again, that colorway is Film Out, and I don't know what I'm gonna make with it yet, but I did get sweater quantity. And I get that question all the time, like, how do you know how many you need? It's just a general ballpark, because most sweater patterns, if they are long sleeve and regular length, they'll fall within a certain yardage range. It's impossible for me to say I know exactly how much yardage I will need. This happens all the time that I'll have one extra skein, but I would rather be safe than sorry, because especially with hand dyed, getting a different batch, it can throw off the whole thing. It really can. So I tend to overbuy rather than underbuy, and I'm fine with it because I will destash the extra, or I'll use it to make a hat, or I'll use it as a contrast color and color work. So it's not that I have like this special way of calculating how much yarn I'll need. It's just there's a range, and you divide. Like, I don't know how to describe basic math. Like, there's a range of yardage, and then you divide how many skeins you would need based on the yardage of a skein. So if it's like 1,000 yards you would need on average for a sweater, you divide that by, let's say, 250 yards per skein, and then you get your answer. You get 4 skeins. For me, I would get 5, because sometimes I like to make a body longer than it suggests. But again, that's up to you. It's math. I'm not great at explaining math. Funny story, my cousin who I met up with for Thanksgiving, she is a mathematician. Her husband is also a mathematician. I hate math. I am awful at math. So, but knitting math is like the one thing I don't complain about doing as much. Anyway, so this weekend I have been resting because I'm sick. Like I said, my knees got me sick. So I've been knitting a lot. But before this weekend, Thanksgiving, I met with my cousin, and right before I left for that trip, like literally while I was waiting for the plane to go to Vegas, it's only an hour-long flight, I decided to cast on a new project because I had an emergency project need. So this coming weekend, I'm going to Denver for the first weekend of December in Denver. That is what Megan and I are calling it, the 2 weekends of December in Denver. And the first one, we are going to see Woolberry Fiber Co. And I had this horrible realization that all this time I've only been hoarding Woolberry Fiber Co. yarns and not using them. So when I go to meet her again, because I saw her in June, when I go to meet her again, I wouldn't have anything to wear in her yarn at her event. And that would make me feel awful. This is just like a personal thing I've put upon myself, because the next weekend we're going to see Explorer Knits. We're going to see Allie of Explorer Knits and her team. And I have, I think, like 3 sweaters in Allie yarn that I could wear. And I was like, I'm going to feel awful if I show up to see Bethany and I don't have 1 sweater of her yarn to wear. So it was an emergency. So I hastily looked through my stash. Luckily, I have a pretty sizable stash. But again, to casual knitters, this seems like a lot. It seems like a lot. And it's not unsubstantial, but if you know the types of people that I'm playing ball with, like, I know the size of some of y'all's stashes, and I am nothing. Y'all are just quiet about it. I film in front of it. Y'all are just sneaky. Anyway, so yeah, I looked through my stash, and luckily I had a bunch of Aran weight from Woolberry Fiber Co. from a couple of her pre-orders this year. And Aran weight, it's a thick weight, she's thick. And so I could move through it quickly. And the colorway I chose was this. It's called Beachcomber from her Coastal collection earlier this year. Beachcomber. This is on her Aran weight. It's 100% superwash merino, and it's lovely. It knits up gorgeous, and I swear it blocks even more. Mwah, just chef's kiss. Yeah, so it's a gorgeous rusty pink. Like, it's definitely, I don't know how to describe it because it's not a brown, it's not a red, it's not a pink. It's kind of a combination of all 3. It's stunning is what it is. That's all I got for you. And I love this colorway. So after a few false starts, at first I told my friend Megan, I was like, we should just do the Tähkä. I think it's Tähkä. I don't know. Something cardigan by Sari Nordlund. I'll mention it below. I already made one earlier this year in February in bulky weight, but I wanted one in Aran weight because I thought the bulky was just a bit too heavy. So that was the original plan. And then I started working on it, and I was like, I cannot get gauge on this thing for the life of me. And I don't want a cardigan that turns out too small because I'm one of those people that wants a big oversized cardigan. So I was like, this is just, I'm throwing it out the window. I can't do this Tähkä cardigan. And then I was like, okay, I'll just do a simple raglan cardigan. And then I tried to do a simple raglan, and then I was like, no, but it's boring. I don't want to do it. So I really went through the motions with this thing. And then I ended up casting on for the Felix Pullover. The Felix Pullover by Amy Christophers, or Savory Knitting. And it's been on my list of things to do for a long time because it's a simple raglan. It's got a nice lace detail along the raglan increases. And you guys know I love a good simple raglan. And my God, I finished this in 3.5 days. Yeah, 3.5 days. And not aggressively knitting either. It just goes so quick because it uses US size 10s, which I believe are 7mm. Don't quote me on that. Look it up. US size 10s. US size 10s. That's what I know. But yeah, Aran weight, US size 10s. And the pattern is written for Aran weight, so I didn't have to do any knitting math or anything. and I was right on gauge. Oh, I love when that happens, because I don't gauge swatch with the square. I just do and then check somewhere along the process. And if I'm on, awesome. If I'm way off, past Aro's out of luck. She's just got to do it out. Or I guess future Aro. Present Aro? Whatever. Either way, yeah. I just got to start over. If it's that off, it's a garment, I'm not going to be able to fix it. It's that off, I got to start over. So it's a life on the edge. It's a life on the edge. And for those of you who get me, I know you get me. For those of you who are like, how do you live like that? Nothing I say will be able to explain to you how I live this way. But yeah, so this is the Felix Pullover. I knit it real quick. It goes so quick. And I have to say, I love it. Love it. It's very accessible, I think, for beginners. If you are familiar with increases with yarn overs, like it doesn't even do the make one, make left, make one right, make one left. It's just yarn overs. It's so simple, you guys. And it doesn't use a chart for the little lace. The lace is very easily repeatable. I really love this. The only difficulty that could come up is short rows, but like I said, German short rows, they are to die for, and they are not as hard as it seems. Just watch a YouTube video. You will be like replaying it going, that can't be it. That really can't be it. But it is. That is it. And I love this. I decided the only changes I made were to the length. I shortened the body by 1 inch, and I shortened the sleeves so they're not full length sleeves, they're 3/4. And I also did, for the ribbing, I did twisted rib, which I love the look of. I love a twisted rib. I just think it looks super cute. Yeah. So that is what the only changes I made. Everything else is 2 pattern. I ended up having a skein extra because, like I said, I tend to overbuy rather than underbuy. This will just, I don't know, maybe I'll use it as a hat or de-stash. I haven't decided, but I have it, and I have a finished sweater to wear when I meet Bethany again, and now I won't feel like a complete failure. And it's just a weird personal thing because I like the dyers to see how I use their yarns because, like I said, I have a lot of her yarns. I have a lot of Bethany yarns or Woolberry yarns, and I just don't want to feel like I'm hoarding it. I want her to see that I'm using it and giving it life and love and all that good stuff. But yeah, and then after I finished this is when I started feeling sick, and I was like, okay, I'm probably not going to go out this weekend, which is a bummer because I still haven't gotten finished object photos of this, and I really want to because it deserves them. So I'm not going out. I feel awful. I should just stay home and knit. And I was looking around, and I have a couple test knits waiting to start, just waiting on the finalized patterns. So I was like, well, we rode the instant gratification train with this finished in 3.5 days, so why not do another instant gratification project? So I looked around at my sizable stash, and I remembered that I had a sweater quantity that was custom dyed by Sarah of Craft Me Not Yarn Co. And it was custom dyed, so the colorways, I can't tell you the colorways, I just know they're 4 RO. Yeah. They're custom dyed. So my friend Megan and I, as a refresher, we got them custom dyed by Sarah for a very specific project. It is the red Viburnum pullover by Olga Putano. And this is the finished yoke. I managed to do this, literally got this far, beginning to end, 24 hours. 24 hours. And it's not that I have superpowers. It's not that I knit in the dark. It's just using Aran weight yarn with US 10s. My God, instant gratification forever. It's just really nice to see how far you come so quick. It was really just like, I love this. I wish everything in life could be this quick. It was lovely. Yeah, so I used the same size needles, US 10s, that I did on the Felix pullover. It goes so quick. Yes, there are sections with 3-stranded collar work, and it's a little lumpy right now because I haven't steam blocked it or anything. Yeah, but I'm really excited. I realize now, holding this up, I should have steam blocked it. So for those of you who haven't done it before, blocking, really, in my opinion, an essential part of knitting, especially garments. You just can't knit something and just wear it and expect it to look finished, because blocking is really what relaxes the fibers, gives the garment a shape. You just need to block. And wet blocking is generally what I do. My little spray bottle is lost. I have no idea where it is. I cannot find it. So what I usually do is I exercise my yarn. So I dip my fingers in water and I just sprinkle at it like I'm telling the Holy Spirit to get a demon out of my knitting or something. That's what I usually do when I can't find my spray bottle. But this time I was even too lazy for that. So I literally just like poured it on in sections. So if you saw my story of my Felix sweater looking like weird graffitied art, that's what was happening. I was just like, just pour it on the parts. It's fine. Anyway, so steam blocking is another blocking option. It's not my preferred method because I find that the steam makes the wool smell like really, wet wool. I find that the smell lingers and I don't like it. I know some people love the smell of wool. Wet wool is different than the smell of wool because I like smelling yarn, but wet wool, no, thank you. It's like, yes, smell of dogs is fine. Smell of wet dog? Anyway, now I'm rambling. So what I do when I steam block is I just get my iron with the steam function. I think most irons come with them nowadays, where you just fill on some water and you make it go. And I don't put it on the garment. I just put it right above and kind of stretch it out, and then the fibers will relax. And I know it would make a world of difference. Like it would look a lot smoother right now. So I realize now I should have done it, but I didn't. So I'm not going to cry over spilled milk. But yeah, love this. It's obviously a very holiday design. The red Viburnum pullover. It looks like holly. It's actually inspired by a Ukrainian plant. I believe the designer is Ukrainian. But this Ukrainian plant that is seen in wintertime, which has a very holiday connotation. So it's not technically holly, is what I'm trying to say. But anyway, yes. So Megan and I have talked about doing a holiday pullover. I know I have wanted a holiday pullover for myself for many, many years. So while I was sitting there yesterday, riding the high of instant gratification, I decided, why not? And here we are, 24 hours later. And I have split for sleeves. I am 2 inches into the body, and I don't think I'll finish the body tonight, but I think I will get pretty far. I don't think I will have this done by the first weekend of December in Denver, but I do believe I will have it done by the second week for December in Denver. Anyway, yes. Okay, that's pretty much all I had to talk to you guys about. I do plan on recording while I am in Denver. I hope to compile a bunch of clips that I can put into one video, but that depends on whether my new phone gets in here or not. Anyway, I'm really excited. I hope to see many of you guys there, hopefully. If you're in Denver, the Bethany event, the Woolberry event, is free for the holiday or the knit night that she's doing. It's after the holiday pop-up. The holiday pop-up is also free, but that's in the morning. But if you can't take time off on a Friday, please come that evening because I will still be there. I will be participating in the knit night, so I would love to meet you guys. I've been lucky enough to run into a few people before where people have like approached me because they recognize me, and most of the time y'all are like, oh, I'm sorry if this is weird, oh, I feel so awkward, are you Aro? Like, please don't feel weird and awkward, because I guarantee you I am more weird and awkward. I think anyone who's met me can confirm. Yeah. Please rest assured, I love seeing you guys, love it. Please don't feel shy about saying hi. I hope to see you guys there. But if you cannot get to Denver for those 2 weekends in Denver, I completely understand. And I hope that you can live vicariously through me at least, because I will be taking videos, I hope, of the entire thing, if not sizable chunks of it. So at least you will get to see what it was like. I'm so excited. I haven't really done like I've done little individual tours. Like I've gone to see Geraldine of the Wandering Flock at her studio. I've gone to see Bethany, and I've gone to see Ali before. But this is my first open to the public event like this. That wasn't a yarn crawl because y'all saw Portland. That's different. But I'm so excited. Very excited. I have to pack. I have to finish this. I have a lot to do. It's lovely to see you guys, and I'm sorry I'm sick. I will hopefully be getting better soon, but I will talk to you so much sooner than y'all probably expect. Okay, bye.